And just to make sure that we good. There we go. All right. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for checking out another one of my weekly Forex and crypto analysis. I do appreciate it. Now, let's go ahead and get things started. You guys know how I do. For those who are returning, first and foremost, what I love to do is I like to check out, hey, let's go and see if there's any fundamental analysis. Hold on, let me just make sure that everything is going smoothly on my end. Sorry. Okay, I believe we're good. So, so I like going over, seeing what the fundamental analysis is. I only like to maintain focus on the high impact news, aka red folders, because that's what's going to bring the most volatility into the market. But there are a whole bunch of other filters, like, orange is medium impact, yellow is low impact, and gray is no impact, which is usually when there's a holiday or something like that. But I only like to focus on the red folder, so gonna go ahead and go through that. So there's no news on Monday, high impact news on Monday. There's 4:15 p.m. we have RBA Governor Lowe speaks with the Australian dollar. Wednesday, March 9th, we have JOLTS job openings for the US dollar. That's at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. 6:45, we have Euro main refinancing rate and monetary policy statement. So you definitely want to watch the Euro for this main refinancing rate. Then you have the press conference shortly after, like about 45 minutes after, at 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Then we have CPI for the US dollar and core CPI. Then you have the Governor Lowe speaking again at 4:15 p.m. on Thursday. So Thursday is going to be pretty high, a lot of high impact news going on. And Friday, hold on, let me make sure that individuals are muted on here. And I forgot to set this setting up. Give me a second. And then entry. That's what I wanted to do. Continue. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. So yeah. Then Friday, Friday, Canadian dollar news, employment change, and unemployment rate at 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. And then 9 a.m. there is UOM consumer sentiment. You don't usually get this news event quite often, as you guys can see. The last one was February 11th, but I don't necessarily pay attention, quite honestly, of the University of Michigan's prelim UOM consumer statement, because it's University of Michigan, right? So it's just a level of composite index based on surveyed consumers. So it's basically a survey of the everyday person about certain sentiments about the market. So that's just it up for high impact news for the US dollar, or not for the US dollar, for fundamental analysis for the Forex currency. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the charts. So I've cleared off all my charts. It's a good habit. I try to say this at least once a month. It's a good habit every month to change or to clear off your charts, or not even every month. I feel like every time you look at the charts in general, you should clear your charts so that you can have a fresh look at it, unless you're comfortable keeping the same charts over and over again, right? But yeah, I like definitely after every month, every monthly candle that closes, I like to close out take off everything from my charts and then just do a fresh chart. And so since last week I wasn't able to go over this monthly candle, now I'm going to be going over it this week, right? So monthly candle, not the greatest looking kind of candle that I would want to see on the monthly for the US dollar, but I'm seeing that the wick to the downside is much larger than the wick to the upside. And so that's something that I was watching for, but it didn't really tell me to hop into a sell on the DXY. It was just kind of like okay, well, we gotta wait and see what happens. right? Weekly time frame. We know what happened last week where I was saying that, hey, I think that a potential reversal can be happening here, but I'm not going to get into anything until I see further confirmations. And, that's why it's good to wait for further confirmations, because last week we had just had a bullish engulfing candle right after, So that bullish engulfing candle that we witnessed is kind of like, so what's going to happen with the US dollar now, And so I've been talking about this same play for weeks now, right? Where I said that, hey, from this high at 102.991, I feel like months at this point. Well, it's definitely been months, because I was talking about it when price was down here. But when price was up over here at 102.991, that bearish move that it made to the downside, all the way down to over here at 89.224. Let me go ahead and actually make sure what it is. The low is 89.209. So let me go ahead and 209 that. Okay, change this to white. Okay, so right now, from this high to this low, currently DXY at a very interesting supply level, because this is where supply kicked in and the DXY started to basically lose its value. It started to go bearish, right? And so now prices came back in to that and this happened back over here in 2020, in May of 2020, and for now prices coming back up in here in March 2022. Right now is a very interesting time for the DXY, and this is why I said that I haven't been really even trying to play anything US dollar related except for the cryptos, right? Or even except for the cryptos. It's just because it's right, this zone is where I've been waiting for. I've been waiting to see what price was going to do at this zone. I had last week my alert. Well, not last week, because I don't even have an alert. Well, I did have an alert up here, but at this point it's not there anymore. But yeah, price is coming up to that 99.045 area. I have this at 99.057, but this is the weekly time frame, so it's kind of difficult to just get pinpoint pricing. But this 71% Fibonacci that I have right here, this is the level I'm watching and seeing what price is going to do. I mean, of course price can still come up to 100.098, right? But usually, especially when it comes to my swings, I like to get in at the 71% Fibonacci level. And so, but of course, just like how we saw with Euro USD, with trying to get into a swing at the Euro at 71%, you could always see, well, and that's for those who have been watching my analysis, right? We can see that, like, when price at that 71%, price can still go to 78.6 easily, and and even go even further to the upside with the DXY. That's totally all a possibility. If we go and look though from when back in 2002, when the DXY was over here at the 120.331, the highest that the DXY has been up to is 103.848, right? And this was back over here in 2016. Prices was dropping for a couple of years. Price came back up, and so I still have I don't want to get too deep into it. I'm just gonna say that my personal opinion. This is just my personal opinion. I'm pretty sure that there's others who might feel the exact same way about it. But I'm just like, hey, with the shape that the U.S. in general, just the state that the U.S. in, and how many months ago we were talking about that, we have so much debt and stuff like that. When we talk about what's going on with the Ukraine and Russia, although I have my personal opinions about that as well, and just in how there's other rises of world power as well. When there's a whole bunch of different things that I could list, and I'm not going to list them down, and I would have to even do some research to even want to make the list that I even think of when I'm talking about, there's the case of inflation that they're trying to rise. I mean, not inflation. When we talk about the interest rates that they're trying to rise, when we talk about inflation that they're trying to combat, when we talk about the rise of different government powers around the world, like there's a list, and like I said, even if you do more research, I'm pretty sure that list can get extended. I'm not necessarily so sure if the U.S. dollar is going to be the currency that, or like, if there is a currency that people flee to in times of uncertainty or anything like that. I don't necessarily think that the U.S. dollar is going to fare well in value within the next coming year or two. And again, like I said, that's just my personal opinion about it. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying that you just want to be careful and watch out for what may or may not happen. And so again, up over here, 99.057 is just, I've been waiting for this long-term play to happen. Now, with price being up here on the weekly time frame, I don't expect price to just make a nosedive to the downside. Like, we could more than likely see some consolidation go on here for a couple of weeks. I mean, it's not going to look like this necessarily, but we could see some consolidation up at this zone for a couple of weeks. And even when that happens, what happens if price just continues to go bullish after a consolidation point? Or what happens if price just goes bullish as is and I'm completely wrong with what happens here? That's totally fine to think about, but as of right now, that's not how I'm feeling, right? I don't feel comfortable trying to get into a long-term buy inside a supply zone. That's just not my type of trading style, So I'm gonna have to wait and see what goes down with the U.S. dollar. Daily time frame is still very much bullish, so I'm not really trying to play anything on this. When I go into the 1 hour time frame, I do see a couple things though. I'm seeing gaps. I'm seeing a lot of gaps in the market. I'm seeing a gap here. I'm seeing a gap here. And I'm seeing another gap here. Now, one thing I want to talk about, and this gap over here, I mean, this didn't necessarily ever get filled. So there's this gap over here as well. Oops. I did not mean to grab that. Whatever. And there's this gap right here. This gap never got filled. As much as price came down over here, it never came down to 96.523. No, 96.541 where price closed at. That's where price closed at. So, and then price opened up over here. Price never closed that gap. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4 gaps. And I mean, again, I was talking about this to my student, DeFi Domination, and my students in Nextwave. I was saying, like, you notice how the DXY is one of the very few pairs that it really never closed this gap up. But it's funny because a whole bunch of other pairs did. And it's just that this was just a prime example as to why I don't necessarily care for trading gaps, because now there's even this gap that never got refilled, and this gap that never got refilled, that price just kept going to the upside, and then even another gap right there. So there is a good amount of gaps in the market that the DXY has to fill. It's going to fill. I'm not saying it has to fill it, because again, it's just my theory that every fib eventually does get filled. It just depends on when. It's not a matter of when. It's not a matter of necessarily, okay, is it going to happen? It is going to happen. It's more of a matter of when is it going to happen. And again, this gap that happened on the 25th, it still has yet to close. So I mean, you have a better chance at trying to get this gap to close than this at this point in time. So that's what I have for the DXY overall. This area, again, very key zone, but you don't want to necessarily hop into anything too fast because it could be potentially detrimental. Oh, let me go on over to arbitrage real quick. See what we got going on. All right. I only go on the monthly, like once a month, basically. So monthly time frame broke above this upper danger zone right here. broke above this upper danger zone, I like to use this as a resistance, and then this, well, yeah, when price is under, I like to use this as a resistance, and then when price is on top, I like to use this lower danger zone down here as a support. You know, price is breaking through that, but it has 24 days left to close, or 25 days basically left to close, and so I'm not necessarily gonna cast judgment on this monthly time frame as of yet. You know, past couple of months I have been saying that, yo, hold on, give me a second. I have been saying that price is above the RSI line, so that's not necessarily a good idea to try to go super hard on a bearish DXY. You want to be more bullish on the DXY than not, right? Weekly time frame, same thing. Price has been above everything. You know, it's been above the upper danger zone, been above both this blue compass line and the red momentum line. You know what I'm saying? Price it's just been chilling up here. It's been so bullish, you know, looking for the bears as much as I wanted them to happen. It was just a risky play to look for them regardless. And so it's like, you gotta have to wait until it happens, right? So daily time frame, 4-hour time frame, 1-hour time frame, whatever time frame, honestly, they're all bullish. Like even the 5-minute, I'm pretty sure is bullish. So just gotta wait and see what the DXY does, but I'm not gonna try to hop right in front of a buy on the DXY, especially when it's up at the supply zone. I gotta be patient with it, and you know, see, I still have these blue markers here because I was watching them, but I never played it out. So Euro USD, same situation basically. Go on to the monthly time frame. Well, not same situation, just the inverse of the situation, right? DXY, very bearish month that we have so far on it. We have this long wick to the upside last month candle that closed on for February, and so that's like not a great sign for a possible buy, especially when price is underneath the 50 EMA, right? Weekly time frame, we go on over here. We see that last week was very much bearish, and again, I'll talk about how that gap on Euro USD did not close. And I was saying, and I still kind of, you know, let's see what goes on, but I was saying that from this low that price went bullish from when price went bullish to this high, price had made a retracement. Price had made a retracement down over here, and I was saying, hey, for me personally, right over here at this 71% fib zone is a nice area to look for potential buys, right? And I was saying, hey, I'm not telling you to get into the buys, but for those who are swing traders, that's not a bad place to be looking for buys, you know? And so price after that, just kept falling to the downside, you know? And so right now I'm just like, hey, at this point, if you go into the swing, you might as well just wait and see what happens, especially with how the DXY is. The DXY could really stop at where it's at and turn around, you know? I'm not ever going to take that possibility away from it. It's just that right now, do you really want to try to hop in when you're not so certain about it? It's just been so bullish that do you want to really go and hop in front of that train, or do you want to wait for further confirmations? Like I'm more than happy that I've been looking more for, like when I talk about EU or GU, any of those pairs, anything like that, I was looking more for the bears than the buys. Even though I wanted them to buy long term, short term wise, all I was seeing more was shorts. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what goes on with EU. I don't necessarily have any much to say about EU other than, again, let me go on to the 1 hour time frame. I feel like, this is definitely a gap in the market. You know, same thing as with the inverse of EU, right? There's a gap right here. You know, the market closed at 1.09295 and it opened at 1.09204. So it's like there's a gap right there. Let me see the other gap on Euro USD. I'm not seeing any like how I saw a lot on the DXY, but there is for sure this gap right here. That price is yet to close. You know, and it came close to it. Came very close to closing the gap, but it never closed it. And so it's like that gap is going to get closed eventually. Don't know. It's all just a matter of when. But overall, this DXY is currently bearish right now. And damn, ETH. And I'm just like, okay, at this point in time, I got to just be patient and see what Euro USD is going to do before I make any type of decision on if I'm going to be looking for buys. Right now, I can't look for buys. You know, it's just very difficult for me to do. On a swinger's perspective, only time that I would have got into the swing buy is right here when price was down over here at 1.11310 or around up there. But I'm not going to get into a buy down here. No sir, because it just makes me feel like price is going to continue pushing to the downside, especially when you go into the daily time frame and look at price action. It's not for me. So we'll see what goes on with Euro USD, but as of right now, I got to stay patient and stay out of this market. And same thing on arbitrage. Well, the inverse of of DXY on arbitrage. You know, instead of price being to the upside, prices to the downside underneath the lower danger zone on the monthly time frame. Weekly time frame, very much bearish. Daily time frame, very much bearish as well. So I'm not necessarily trying to play the Euro USD or the DXY right now. So with that being said, going on over to AUD USD. And it's so funny because you see Euro USD over there tanking, but AUD USD is over here flourishing. You know, when we go on to the monthly time frame and take a look at last month's candle, yeah, it's not necessarily a bullish engulfing candle, but it is a Marabozo. Like if I see a candle like this, it'll make me be more optimistic for a buy rather than if I were to look at a last month's candle for Euro USD. You know what I'm saying? So definitely having a bullish Australian dollar right now. The Australian dollar is much stronger than how strong the US dollar is, which is pretty interesting to me. How the Australian dollar is more bullish than the US dollar. You know what I'm saying? Or is it because the US dollar is bullish? No, it can't be. Because if the US dollar was bullish, then AUD USD would be going bearish. So weekly time frame last week, bullish engulfing candle for sure on AUD USD. That's pretty awesome. But now this is something that I had been talking about, you know, a couple months ago actually, that I wanted to see on AUD USD, but it never came to fruition. I was saying that, you know, hey, from this previous lower high to these lower lows down here, what is price going to do up over here at this zone? Like at first it was this lower low, but then price ended up dropping down a little lower. And so, but you know, I'm still feeling the same way. I'm like, what is price going to do at this zone? It's at an interesting area for a potential bearish move. But the way how price has been bullish, I'm not going to go and hop in front of a sell right here, right now. You know, it just wouldn't be that wise of me, you know. Big volume right here too off of this daily, big volume. And you know, of course, overall, just from even this lower high up here, okay, I'm not going to count this one. I'm going to count from where price really started the drop. You know, price can still make a retracement back up to over here to 0.75408 to 0.76959. Price can still make that potential move to the upside where it's like it goes bullish. Oops. Give me a second. Where it goes bullish like that, or even go up a little higher and then end up pushing to the downside. Now, it's not going to fall just like that, but you know, it could do something like that. And so that's the reason why I'm more like, okay, right here is a key zone on AUD USD, but I want to see what price is going to do first, or is it just going to blow to the upside before continuing to make higher highs, you know? So waiting to see what AUD/USD is going to do here. It's way too bullish for me to try to play anything at this point. If you go into the 4-hour time frames, take a look. See, AUD/USD, it closed its gap. So that's one pair that closed its gap from last week. Yeah. Nothing's really changed about what I had said, really. Like 1-hour time frame. Everything is just too bullish for me to play it right now. Good for AUD/USD though. Honestly, I'm actually pretty. Now I feel better trying to take any type of sell opportunities on AUD/USD. Quite honestly, I've been like kind of waiting for a higher time frame retracement, and I wanted to try to catch the buy off of it, but didn't get that. Nice W down here too. Yeah. All right, monthly time frame. Not like I said, not a bullish engulfing candle necessarily, but price did close above the RSI line right here, this black line right here. So, you know, I expect price to be bullish. Weekly time frame, we finally got a breakout of this RSI line to the upside on AUD/USD. Now, if I was playing arbitrage wise, I would need to still wait for a retracement on that weekly before continuing to take price to the upside. So that's what I have on that weekly time frame for AUD/USD so far. And daily 4-hour and 1 hour is all bullish as well. So don't have much to say else about AUD/USD except for next up we have USD/CHF. And man, oh man, are you late to the party, you chef. Man, oh man, oh man, are you late to the party. All right, so USHF right now is in such an interesting area because nonetheless, even though we're seeing the DXY make higher highs and we're seeing Euro/USD make lower lows, this is still consolidating for the consecutive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months. 7 months inside of this range. That's so interesting how 7 months inside of this range, even though we're seeing the US dollar make higher highs and higher lows and stuff like that, we're just seeing USHF just consolidate inside this area, and it's just interesting to see. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and see what's cracking. That monthly time frame really doesn't tell me anything, just a bearish candle, but it's not bearish engulfing or there's no pattern or anything like that, so I'm not necessarily going to pay attention to that. When we're going over to USHF on the weekly time frame, then we see a bearish candle, but it's not a bearish engulfing candle. And it's so funny because we're seeing the dollar go bullish, but we're seeing the Swiss francs or the Swiss franc or whatever you want to call it, CHF. We're seeing it might be bullish as well, or bearish, and it's just making the USHF not being able to break out of its zone, you know? Because if we have the US dollar going bullish and then we have USHF going bearish, it's just gonna make price, you know, it's gonna make price consolidate, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so going on to the fibbing this or fibbing anything on here is just at this point, no, like you just don't want to do it. You know, on the daily time frame, however, I mean, I had talked about this and I'm like, it'll be very interesting to see if from this bullish move, price comes and it just rejects off of this zone over and over and over and over and over again before it goes bullish. And I mean, I didn't play this because I'm just like, even after looking at last week's daily, I'm like, is this gonna really go bearish? And to see that, I mean, I have a feeling this is a gap to the upside, but to see price over here at 0.92044 is pretty astounding. So I really do like what I'm seeing on USHF for a potential bullish move. It's just, again, it's just been consolidating for so long. Like, look at this, it's just messy. Like, if you were to ask me, I would say that this looks like a head and shoulders. right here. Like if I go into the 1 hour time frame, it'll be much easier to see. But I feel like this is just the head and shoulders on the 4 hour, on the 1 hour time frame, and then you see a bearish flag right here. But then how many other people see that? So I feel like, you know, this is probably might go bullish. If the DXY continues to go bullish, then I don't see a reason why USHEF wouldn't continue to go bullish. But if the DXY really does start to lose its strength, then we might start seeing USHEF go bearish. Like seriously. 1 hour time frame. What am I doing? Hold on. No, I don't need that there, honestly. So, you know, not even gonna do that. Go on to the 1 hour time frame. So yeah, this is what I was saying, that I'm like, yo, I see this head and shoulders pattern, and of course, if I see it, then wonder how many other people see it. You see what I'm saying? You have the right shoulder over here, you have the left shoulder right here, then you have the head. If you get the breakout, if you want to play safe, wait for the breakout, retest, continuation. That would be your best bet. But other than that, I mean, this just, I mean, I have a hard time believing that this just happened all in, no. I mean, I would have to go and see what my MT4 would look like, to see what my broker looks like with USHEF. But man, if this is what this looks like, then USHEF is just going to continue going bullish, and this head and shoulders, you don't want to play it. So we'll see what goes on with USHEF though. It's a very interesting price with this shorter time frame span. But other than that, again, higher time frames, I don't got nothing for you until I see a breakout. Like honestly, I don't have anything to say about USHEF until this breakout happens. Let me go ahead and yeah, until this zone breaks out, I can't necessarily play USHEF with any kind of confidence, in my opinion. Like, I just need this zone to get broken. As soon as that happens, I'm like, all right, then now we can do something much better. But other than that, I'll just be looking for shorter time frame plays on USHEF. And I'm pretty sure arbitrage looks pretty messy right now. Yeah, 4 hour looks a little messy. 1 hour, not the greatest looking. Daily time frame, price is currently under that RSI line, and it called for a sell. I mean, if you want to try that, go ahead, but it's just, again, it's in a consolidating market. It's just kind of messy to me, in my opinion. Weekly time frame, I mean, price opened below the RSI line, but it's currently above it, so it's like, it's kind of weird. But again, over monthly time frame, I mean, for a buy to happen, I would need for a breakout, then a retest, and then a continuation type of play. So yeah, we'll see what for sure goes on with USHEF. Not really super crazy about it. I'm gonna pay attention. I'm gonna leave a blue marker on it just so that I could, like, I want to see what it's gonna do. I'm kind of interested in it. All right, gold, everyone's favorite. This is why you don't try to sell gold, like, just because, like you know, I was saying that, hey, might be a good opportunity to sell gold. I mean, if you sold gold at the fib zone from last week that I talked about, and I mean, I go back and talk about it, whatever. But if you did, then you might have gotten some good profits. You know, it hit 1-to-1 from my fib zone, so I'll talk about that later. But isn't it interesting that the volume on this keeps rising every week? That makes me question, like, is this volume actually kind of accurate at this point? Because it's just increasing every week, and price is increasing every week. 1987, we haven't seen that pricing on gold since 2020, back in 2020. And now my question is, even if you go and look in the monthly time frame, look at the last month, so bullish with the wick to the upside, and price followed the wick and continue going bullish. Man, last time gold has not closed above 1977 on the monthly time frame. Like according to Awanda, according to this chart ever, you know. So we'll see what goes on this month when it comes to gold, you know. I'm definitely going to be patient on it. Don't necessarily, like I said, there's like price is not ever closed above this price. So we'll see what goes down this week. I'm just putting that line there, but yeah, gold with no hesitation keeps going to the upside. It could hold right here. I mean, I don't necessarily like this fib, but I mean, it's a correction fib. It still could hold at this level where it could push to the downside. Absolutely. But again, this is more of a correction of this fib. Is more of a corrective move at this point than it trying to be bearish, like hands down. And of course, we have to think about it in times of uncertainty. For those who have been trading for a while, we know that in times of uncertainty, a lot of people go to gold because historically speaking, gold has been able to hold value and protect people's money. So when we talk about the Ukraine and what's going on with them over there, a lot of people more than likely have been putting a lot of their money into gold. They could be putting money into crypto. Absolutely. I'm not even gonna say that's not possible. That's a huge possibility that they're putting their money into crypto. However, from the way how the markets look right now, they're putting their money in gold. And so when I see that, yeah, that's where they're putting their money into right now, it's kind of like, okay, well, is there anybody who's putting their money into gold right now they're also going to be looking to put their money into crypto? Who knows? We'll see, because as of right now, as you guys can see from the title, I'm like, cryptos aren't looking that great. This you know, the weekly close is not looking as great as I would want it to be for me to be super optimistic on the cryptos. But as for gold, the price, you see the price action that I'm seeing on the weekly with gold, this is making me optimistic to say that gold could possibly make more all-time highs, even although it's at its current zone, you know. At this current zone, although yes, the swinger me wants to just throw a 1% at this and see how, or not even 1%, like 2%, and see how this goes, because for it to get to 2077, it's going to take a couple of days, at least, or even a couple of weeks possibly. But I'm not going to try to shoot my shot right here. It's just, why do it when I feel like prices is going to keep going to the upside at this point, you know? I can, but I will just then have to wait really long to see what happens. So we're going to see what happens. I would love to see a rejection here before I could be like, okay, with a good conscience, now I'm feeling good about a potential buy on gold, right? Monthly time frame, very much bullish. It's been bullish since like 2019 on the monthly time frame. That's crazy. Weekly time frame, yeah, I had been talking about this bull move right here a couple weeks ago, and did it play out. It's just that it was consolidating and it was sloppy to me, so I wouldn't have played it. Daily time frame, same thing. There was a point in time where the bands were getting sloppy with it. I wouldn't have played this, but did it play out though. 4-hour time frame, 1-hour time frame, everything's bullish on gold. It's like everything on the markets right now, if they're pointing towards one way, more than likely on all the other time frames, it's pointing that way as well. So let's go on over to these indices. Anybody else feel like they're gonna drop? I know my man Mike has definitely been talking about these indices dropping for a minute now, and you know, it might be about that time for them to drop for sure. We've had a good couple of months, 1-2 months where it's closed bearish on both months, and you know, we've had a couple of months where prices looked like it was going to close bearish 2 months in a row. I mean, last time we did was with this COVID, and then price jumped back up really fast. When was the last time we had a very bearish 2 months in a row? This is just for the S&P, right? Not 2 months in a row, but in the span of them in 3 weeks. Yeah. This is basically consolidating. I mean, yeah, unless we talk about over here back in 2008. And we all know what happened in 2008, the recession, right? Recession happened, all that stuff. With everything that's going on in the markets, just like I was talking about with the DXY, and I don't know how it's going to be looking in value, you know, but as the DXY continues to increase, these U.S. indices, they decide to decrease as well. And hey, if we're going into a second recession right now, I mean, I'm not trying to wish negativity onto the markets like that, though. Like, I'm really not trying to be that guy, but I mean, it might be time for these to correct. You know, Payton's been talking about that for a while now, actually, that these indices, they look like they're about to correct, and you know, they really do. I mean, when I go onto the lower time frames, I'll show you that, hey, like, there's this last chance that S&P has before it drops. But I mean, when we just look over here, yes, there's this zone that S&P, it left a wick on the weekly time frame and it never closed down there. Yeah, that's true, a couple weeks ago, right? But what I want to try to buy is kind of like with gold. I feel like with this move right now, if I try to fib this, which I am going to regardless, from this high to this low, you know, if price comes down over here, it's more of I'm fibbing a correction than anything. But that correction could possibly be where the start of a reversal will take place. But again, from where I'm standing and from what I'm looking at, it looks like these are going to continue to fall to the push to the downside. And so I'm just gonna, you know, again, I'm just gonna play it day by day at this point. It's very difficult for me to want to trade anything except for shorter time frames or the cryptos right now, quite honestly. But again, I have this fib that's drawn up. Actually, let me just draw it up right there. I'm gonna have an alert here at 4195 or 4196 basically, and I'm going to see what the market does once it gets here. Okay, so this is for the S&P. This is a very, very risky and dangerous play. I'm not even going to try to play it. And it's going over to arbitrage real quick, see what we have. Weekly time frame called for the sell 2 weeks ago. Price is continuing to fall. The breakout on the retest happened even way sooner than that for the fall, so I'm not really surprised. Monthly time frame, I'm pretty sure it's nowhere near the RSI line, but still, I mean, if that weekly time frame plays out, then by the time it gets down here to 3,657, I'm pretty sure on the weekly time frame, that's where the RSI. Oh no, even lower. Wow. So, never mind. I take that back. Like what I just said, like disregard that. But man, these indices, man, they looking scary. These indices looking scary. But that boy, MJ, man, he caught that sell like that. Oof. And man, if these things fall, if this thing falls, it's gonna fall. So let's see what goes down. But I'm telling you, if price falls below 4,100 and 4,100 in general, it's gonna fall hard, like very hard. So we'll see what's up. But I feel like it is 1 hour time frame call for the sell. We'll see what goes down. But for those of y'all, if y'all are still in that MJ US 30 sell, stay in that thing. Thing's gonna fall. In my opinion, it's gonna fall. But yeah, same thing literally applies to US 30. Like same message, same everything. I'm just gonna mark it up, but literally same everything on US 30. Looks very bearish. If it falls below 32, I mean, yeah, 30, what's over here? 32,200. Yeah, expect this thing to fall. So, might be lining up. We'll see what goes down. 4-hour time frame. It didn't necessarily break any structure to the upside, so that's scary for me. So we'll see what goes down, but hey, gonna set the alert, and we'll see what goes down. Alrighty, and you know, I'm pretty sure this doesn't look any better than what SPX 500 looked. Yeah, this 4-hour played out pretty nicely though. I'm not gonna lie. Daily time frame very much bearish. Weekly time frame very much bearish. So yeah, not gonna really pay super attention to the indices this week either. And then we have the cryptos. Let me not lie to anybody. I'm in a Bitcoin buy. All right. Let's do this. I've talked about this multiple times in past analysis. Definitely down to talk about it some more today. So, Bitcoin currently at 38,257. You know, last week price came up all the way up to 45,000 and closed, you know, above it. It closed above 40,000, and I was saying I want to see it close above 40,000 before I start to look for any type of Bitcoin buys. All right, bet I got that. Monthly candle didn't look that great, but it's better than what the past 3 months were. But I'm not liking what this current candle looks like right now. But overall, you know, just from the start of this bullish run, I'm still gonna draw these areas. I'm still gonna draw these areas, right? Whereas I'm saying, hey, the possibility for price to come back down anywhere between 28,000 or 29,000 to 17,000 exists. Realistically speaking, even $10,000 is a high possibility. You know, I'm not taking 10,000 out the fray. It's definitely a possibility. But we'll talk about that a little bit more right now. So, these 3 targets, I'm going to draw the zone and leave it here for the next month. And then I'm pretty sure I'm going to come back to this same zone next month and the month after that and the month after that. But I'm just going to go ahead and draw that regardless, right? So, okay. So again, from where the bullish move started over here at March 30th, 2020 at 3,000, like about 3,800 to the high of 69,000, you know, I expect price to, I mean, again, if price falls below 32,000, I feel like I've said this a whole bunch of times, but if price falls below 32,000, then I do expect it to push to the downside. Even down over to 18,000, I would really prefer to see price stay above 20,000 or close above 20,000. I would definitely prefer that. But, you know, that's where I can see the possibility of Bitcoin coming down to on a long-term time frame. Chill over here for a couple of months to a year, go a little bullish, come back down, but then in 2024, when that next Bitcoin halving comes, mooning up to 100,000, that sounds much more realistic to me. That right there sounds much more of a realistic scenario to me for Bitcoin to go up over to 100,000. Realistically speaking, this is what I think is going to happen. You know, I would love nothing more for Bitcoin to go up to 100,000 today. I would love, or not today, but this year, or even next year, in 2023. I would love for that to happen. But history repeats itself, and you know it's crazy because even last time, I mean, the markets didn't stay up here for that as much longer. So this right here can be the difference as to what this all right here can be the difference of higher institutions coming into the market versus here where prices went bullish and then it retraced hard. This can be the difference of higher institutions came into the fray and made price even make higher highs than before, but then overall that retracement still got to happen, that correction still got to happen. Who knows? All I know is that for me to really feel much more better about Bitcoin going to 100,000, I need price to come back down to 20,000. As much as even if you buy over here at this current prices, which as I've said multiple times on this on my analysis of any type or not any type, but for the past couple of months, any price under $40,000 buying Bitcoin is not a bad idea. Just be mindful of how much you're buying, because imagine there was people buying at 70,000. So, give me, yes, take your dog. Thank you, appreciate it. But yeah, 186% if you were to buy Bitcoin at these prices, and price goes up to 109,000. I'm not gonna. 109,000 sounds hella realistic. That's 186% return. So yeah, even buying anything, like I said, buying anything below $40,000 is a good investment, long term wise. It's a good investment, long term wise. But there is no guarantee that $100,000 for Bitcoin will get hit. Do I believe it can? Absolutely. Is it going to happen soon? I don't know. So we'll see what goes on with that. Weekly time frame. This weekly time frame, right? Let me get rid of this weekly line right here. This weekly that closed just today, me and Peyton have been talking about this all week. We've been saying this weekly time frame does not look good at all. Now, I would really, really hope that I gotta see what that is. I really, really hope that price just goes back up and follows that wick, because again, I am in a buy, and I'll tell you guys the buy that I'm in. I'm probably gonna get out shortly. Who knows? But we'll see. But this weekly candle, especially rejecting off of that weekly 50 EMA, not a good sign. Not a good sign at all. And so we might be really seeing that 28K pricing. We really might be seeing that 22K pricing. Like, that is for sure. Like I said, I've been talking about it for weeks. It's a huge reality. Realistically speaking, let's be real here. For price to come down to $28,000 at current price, it's a 25%. It's a 25% drawdown. Versus if price were to go up to, let's just say 53,000, that's a 40% increase. That 25% downside is much more realistic, especially when you're looking at the technical analysis aspect of it all versus the bullish moves, right? So, I'm gonna, there's trade opportunities. There's definitely trade opportunities. There's always a trade opportunity. Like, depending on how you trade as a trader, there's always going to be a trade opportunity. But now then that's when you got to ask yourself, okay, is this trade opportunity one that I want to take? So right now, this is the trade that I am currently in, right? I saw this bullish move to the upside on Bitcoin, and I'm like, all right, sweet, cool. I love this bullish play. I said one of two things is going to happen. Either one, I want to see price from the low of 37,000 to the high of 45,000 to retrace back down into this fib, which it did very nicely, and it did it like in double the time, or it took twice as long for it to get down here versus how long it took to get up there. I like seeing that. That's the first case scenario is going to happen, and price is currently underneath, so I'm leaning towards pessimism when it comes to price going bullish right now, but we'll see what goes on. Or price is going to come down from the low of 34,000 over here to the high of 45,000. Now, and you know, there's still that 36,657 that price could come into. Right now, the price is just getting into a 61.8 zone. So overall, I still want to see price go bullish. But again, personally speaking, I feel like if one of those two plays don't play out and price doesn't go bullish either here or here at this area, oops, then price is just gonna squiggle its way all the way down. And I feel like we'll get to around that 28K area faster than we can even think, or faster than what we would expect. Let me say that. So again, guys, I really want everybody to be careful when trading these cryptos. Don't be so super moon boy about it or a moon girl about it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just, I don't know. It's just crazy. I mean, I'm not on social media that much as I used to be. I could genuinely say that with a good heart and conscience. But when I'm on there, I see a whole bunch of people still being so optimistic about Bitcoin, and I'm like, I love the optimism because I want nothing more than these cryptos to take off, because that's gonna put me in early retirement. But it's just, as of right now, there's a lot of signs that are saying no, that's not the case. You know, from this sell right here, if I would have pressed the sell button, price, I would be in a decent profits right now. I mean, I would have got stopped out first for sure at break even, but still, you know, this weekly time frame is starting to shrink up a little bit, but price can still continue pushing to the downside on the weekly. You know, daily time frame, a couple of days ago, it called for this sell, but right now it's holding at this upper danger zone. Right now, this upper danger zone is the only thing that's making me stay in this Bitcoin trade that I'm currently in. But if price breaks below it, then I'm more than likely just going to wait until price comes a little bit more down and try for a buy again. You know, I'd rather just lose 0.3 or 0.4%, or I'd rather lose 40% of what I was risking on this and then go and put that 60% that was left of what I was risking down over here with what I'm willing to risk down here as well. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, 4 hour time frame, this was horrible looking. You know, 1 hour time frame, this was not that great either. You know, the 2 hour play on Bitcoin, you know, it was pretty awesome. We rolled this all the way down and hit take profits, so that was pretty cool. For those on DeFi domination, sorry, next wave, it's just I didn't have the chance to send it to y'all, but y'all already knew what was up. Y'all knew what we were looking for, so it doesn't even matter. But yeah, so overall, we're gonna see what Bitcoin does. I love if it can hold where it's at and go bullish. I'm here for it. Even if it drops a little lower, let me map it out. Even if it drops a little lower and it comes down over here to 37,528, you know, I'm still gonna be game. Honestly, I'm still gonna be game to get into a buy right there. I mean, price is not even that far away. It's just that it's on the 4 hour time frame, so it doesn't look far away. But with the trade that I'm in right now, yeah, again, if I let price come all the way down to this swing entry, then it can just drop down a little bit more, take me out of this position, and then push to the upside. I'd rather just wait. If price is going to drop a little low, then I take a 40% stop loss on my position, so that's basically a 0.4% loss on my account because I risked 1% on this trade, and then go and put the rest of my position down over here at 36,688. So that I have better pricing, you know. We'll see what goes on with Bitcoin. Ethereum, basically on the same wavelength, but this looks good to me to try to get into a swing play more than Bitcoin, because again, Bitcoin, it gave me this first opportunity up here, but this is why I'm saying that Ethereum I like it a little better for the short-term play is from 2,306, the low to the high of 30,051. Price hit that 71% Fibonacci level. That's what that alert was. Thank you, man. I'm definitely feeling the buys here. Like, and again, I feel like if price pushes to the downside, let me hide these real quick and go onto the monthly time frame and do the exact same thing that I did with Bitcoin. So, same thing with Bitcoin. Not liking the bearishness that we're seeing on Ethereum. It's not really making me feel that optimistic about it, but I still want to see the bulls on the cryptos at least one more time before we make a push to the downside. But the more I look at it, the more I feel like it's gonna fall. I definitely want to see from this low of like $83 back in April or March, April, to the high of 4,862. You know, getting that retracement back down to 1,469 or 1,106. You know, those are, or not 1,909. Those are all areas where it's fire to buy. You know, I know first time when price, even Ethereum, came up here and then it dropped to the downside on May, I was saying, hey, you know, these areas are good to buy. 1,726, 1,330, 1,003. I was saying, hey, those are good areas to buy at. Unfortunately, it only came to 61.8, and I wasn't prepared to buy it at that price. But, you know, of course, price might be, the markets might be giving me another opportunity to try to do it. We'll see what happens. But overall, again, Ethereum, higher time frame. This is the box where I'm going to be looking to really dollar cost average, and I love it because this box overall is definitely in that range of where the previous all-time high was on Ethereum. So if price comes back down and then pops up, that'll be perfect for me. And again, if that happens when the Bitcoin halving occurs, so be it. But yeah, lower time frames for sure. Like I said, weekly time frame on this, same thing as with Bitcoin, left a long wick to the upside and this looks like a shooting star to me. And then right off of that 50 EMA right there, it's not a good look. It's not a good look to me personally. You know, seeing that push to the downside, it could potentially happen. But again, if there is, for Ethereum at least, there's one. It's funny because Ethereum only had one more position for me, where Bitcoin had two positions for me. That's interesting. But yeah, this is the last time that I'm probably gonna look for Ethereum buys on margin. If it doesn't go bullish here, then you're probably not gonna see me looking for any type of buys on margin for a little bit. Or maybe it'll be just like a smaller time frame type of play, but who knows? But I'm more of a swing type of play. So let's see what goes on with Ethereum on the long term aspect. You know, this daily time frame I called for the buy, but now price called for the sell. The sell might be happening. We'll see what goes down. A weekly time frame. This is what I wanted to see on the weekly for me to start looking for bears, but we might not get that, and price just might end up falling to the downside. 4 hours. Yeah, very much bearish, but it was ugly. Yeah, so these cryptos, man. Like I said, Ethereum, in fact, I'm gonna call this trade right here, right now. A 1 to 2 does not sound terrible. A 1 to 2.5, does not sound terrible. But I'm gonna go ahead and make it a 1 to 3.4. A 1 to 3.5. All right, so yeah, calling this trade out. This is definitely gonna be counted towards. If it hits stop loss, you're gonna get the update on the app. If it hits take profits, you're gonna get the update on the app. Let me go ahead and actually set my take profits. So it's a 275 point stop loss. So let me get a 275 pip target, take profit. Wait, just to make sure, yeah. Oh my goodness. All right, that's as good as it's gonna get for now, but you know what? $252, so 2825. There we go. All right, so that's TP1, TP2 is right there. TP3, TP4. Only because, again, this is like literally my last, like, like I said, if I feel like if this had stop loss, either A, price is just going to stop me out in a really cruel way and then go bullish, or we're going to be seeing the likes of 1800, 1600, etc., very shortly. So this is the trade on Ethereum that I'm about to take. In fact, I'll take it right in front of y'all too. $2272. Take profit 3512, and I'll have my magic keys, which I will be debuting for y'all to, or not for y'all, but on my YouTube, on the YouTube channel. I'll be debuting it for y'all. So yeah, got in, and we'll see what goes down. I'm pretty sure that's 1%, but I have to go and double check once I'm done with this. So that's Ethereum. Definitely want that bullish move to the upside, and if I don't get it, then hey, again, it's to the downside that cryptos go. And I'm not looking at the downside as a negative thing. I'm looking at it as a positive thing because, you know, all of this that happened, and there was so much hype that everybody was happy that they were getting gains. You know, I'm not gonna front to y'all. Ethereum was one of the cryptos that I was very much not invested in. I was not invested in Ethereum as much as I am in crypto. I mean, in Ripple. I'm not as invested in Ethereum as I am with BAT. I'm not as invested in Ethereum as I am with, you know, Chainlink or anything like that. Chainlink is very little, but still, regardless, like, I'm not that invested in Ethereum as I would want to be. At these prices, it's still amazing. It would be still amazing if I got in and price went up to 5,000, because I would have doubled my money. You know, it's not necessarily terrible if I buy right here on holding type of status, but I'd rather see if price continues to push to the downside based off of what I'm seeing on technical analysis. You know, I'd be more than happy if price went bullish on my MT4 for price to go bullish here, but you know, if price dropped down and then allowed me to go in dollar cost average in real life, I'd be much more happy with that as well. So we'll see what happens. GBP USD continuing its bearish move to the downside. I love to see that. That swing play is still playing out. But overall, monthly time frame, looking at GU, price closed right underneath that 50 EMA, which is so interesting. And you know, price has been pretty bullish ever since it made this downward push when like COVID happened and stuff like that. It's made that bullish move to the upside. Never broke above these equal highs, so that's kind of interesting to me, for me to see that. Kind of interesting for me to see that price never broke through those highs right there. But I mean, I feel like if price breaks below this, it's going to keep falling to the downside. But overall, I mean, I don't necessarily like this wick though. But on a higher scale, I mean, I still see price coming down into the zone, you know, like on a super larger time scale. Like, this is going to probably take months for price to even think about breathing that area, but he's not a bad look. You know, I feel like price definitely off of this weekly. Yeah, price this obviously never closed this gap from what I'm seeing here, and as long as price doesn't, I mean, I just feel like price isn't going to hold here, and it's just going to continue pushing to the downside. And, you know, it's going to take a couple of weeks for price to get down here. It's not going to just, I mean, if it happens all in 2 weeks for price to get down there, it'd be scary. And I probably wouldn't even want to take the buy at that point. But, you know, with what we're seeing with the DXY, if the DXY is really going to hold at this area that I have it at, you know, it's now up over here at 99.057. Quite interesting. But, you know, if price holds here, and then decides to turn around, then the likelihood of GU going bullish does exist, right? But that bearish push to the downside is pretty harsh, and I wouldn't necessarily try to go up against it right now, you know? So I'm gonna hold off on doing a better analysis on GU, especially since this trade is still running that I called. I'm gonna give off of getting an analysis on it and just let this continue playing out, and then I'm gonna just chill a little bit, right? I'm gonna be like, all right, let's hold on. First of all, I'm gonna be like, all right, I'm going to see what goes down. It's probably going to, well, not definitely, but it's more than likely going to be coming to hit these equal lows. Let me go into the daily time frame because that's where I got in at. But, yeah, we'll see what goes down with this play. But, I mean, can't be mad at a total of 342 pips as of right now for GU. But, again, I'm not going to go too deep into an analysis on GU. Not yet, at least. GJ definitely didn't give me the retracement that I wanted, that I was mentioning that, hey, if I get that retracement, then I'll be looking for a possible sell opportunity on GJ. But, you know, hey, it is what it is. But overall, GJ was still very much bullish, and it's still not out of the woods yet for me to say that on a higher time frame, yes, it's going to go bearish. But right now, it's currently at this weekly 50 EMA, so that's something to watch out for. You know, from this bullish move that price had made. Let me go a little closer. Initially, let me go into the daily time frame to show it. Do I want to catch it from here? Yeah, let me catch it from here. So from this bullish move that price had made from this low, or do I want it here? I mean, if I want here, it's just going to be the 71%, so why not? So from this low at 48.976, where price made all these equal lows, to this high of 158, where price came and literally made an equal high. Price is currently down into this fib, and again, it's kind of in a wonky place. But if I were to choose one or the other with GJ right now, it'd be the bulls. But knowing me, if I got into the buy, it'd probably end up selling. No, I'm just playing. And going up against that daily time frame, I don't want to. Like, it just looks like an evening star pattern, and then price is just going to keep pushing to the downside. So I'm not necessarily going to try to get into any trade on GJ, but I'm going to be vigilant and paying attention to what it's going to do. But yeah, after looking at this 4-hour time frame, I'm not necessarily super eager to try to get into a sell on GJ. You know, there could be definitely a whole lot of more opportunities on it. So I'm going to leave GJ in his tracks for now. Let me go ahead and take a look at arbitrage. Daily time frame holding at that lower danger zone. Weekly time frame underneath that RSI line, that is a possible sign for the bears. 4-hour time frame, very much bearish. I'm pretty sure the 1-hour time frame is as well. Yep. So definitely don't want to try to hop into a buy right now, but prices dropped too much for me to try to get into a sell as well. So I'm just going to be patient. Like I said, I'm going to leave this up here just so I can have a visual representation of GJ. But these are equal highs up here. That's just going to be red, and there's equal lows down here. That can stay blue. So it's going to be interesting to see what GJ is going to do, but it's just been consolidating in between these zones. So that is GJ. And EG arbitrage, we took that L. I'll tell you guys that was for sure, because I mean everyone else knew, like DeFi and Next Wave, but we definitely took this L on EG. And you know, to say that I'm surprised that price continued to fall to the downside, not really. You know, I should have taken my couple of EG profits that I took from the buys and just kept it pushing. But price finally broke through this zone. And again, I'm not really going to say much about where I'm going to expect price to stop at next, because, I mean, who knows, you know. Price could, from this low to this high, you know, price can definitely just continue to 0.81395, 0.79935, and then go bullish. But I'm not going to try to play that. Like, I'm just going to let EG be in its bearish state of mind as of right now. Then I can always return back to it later. And I pinky promise you, every single time frame on here is bearish. Let me go ahead and remove drawings. Pinky promise you, bearish. 4-hour time frame, bears. Daily time frame, bears. Weekly time frame, didn't even call for a buy for a while now, bears. So that is with Euro GBP. So with that being said, is there any other pairs or questions or anything that anybody wants me to go through before I hop off of my analysis? I don't think I spent that much long on here today. Spent a reasonable amount of time. Oh, let me see over here. I don't think so. Okay. Well, if that's the case, thanks y'all for hopping on. I do appreciate it. And let's see what the markets bring us. Let's get this money, y'all. Later.